From long dresses and bonnets to the colonial period, to poodle skirts in the 50s, women's fashion has changed drastically throughout the years. But today's society has plunged the necklines and shortened the hemlines. Today, I'm trying to persuade you to rethink the way that you dress and to dress more appropriately. This will help you with your professionality and when attracting a good man. It'll also help because in the way that women dress, we have a certain power. And I'll explain it later, but you want to channel that power into good instead of bad. I used to dress immodestly and go with the flow and with the fads, but after doing my research and knowing how the male brain actually works, I have chosen to take a modest approach to how I dress. Today, I will inform you how dressing suggestively can lead to compromised safety, shame in society, unwanted attraction, and how this can be fixed by dressing appropriately. In Lawrence Wilson's Dress Modestly and Why Not Dress Down, he explains how the male libido will have an urge to see a woman dress immodestly and look at her as an object. And by provoking this male libido, he has no thought of the repercussions that his actions will have on this woman. By keeping your safety in check and dressing modestly, you can prevent such bad things from happening to you. In Top 10 Reasons Women Should Dress Modestly by ID Catholics, it is said that if you want to attract a Christian man, you should be respectful to him and not provoke this male libido that he is so inclined to have. Although your safety is important, there is also the safety of society that is a great cause that comes from immodest dressing. 10,000 to 15,000 sexual references per year are made in the media. From movies and television, so many actors are dressed immodestly, and it has given women the idea of dressing immodestly. In a study that analyzed 81 primetime television shows, 84% of the episodes contained at least one incident of sexual harassment. In everyday media, there is so much about sexual innuendos, and with people dressed immodestly, it puts in young girls' minds that dressing immodestly is the thing to do. It is also seen in many music videos where artists are revered and loved, so young girls want to act like these artists, and so they dress just like them, and it is causing a big problem. 40% of ads portrayed women as objects of satisfaction. And I don't know about you, but I don't think it's the satisfaction we want. They see people as objects and not as humans. Also, in this immodest thinking is being instilled in even the youngest of crowds through toys like Barbies and Bratz that seem to have immodest clothing on, and when I was a young girl, I wanted to dress like Barbie, and I'm sure the young girls today want to dress like Barbie too. When women and young girls see these ads in these media things, they want to be like them. But when they don't add up, it can lead to inflicting pain on themselves and a lower self-esteem, which has been a great problem in our society today. It is also seen that we have gone away from the emphasis of intellect of a woman, and we're seeing her more based on her looks, and that's what we're judging her for. And that's not how I want to be looked at, and I'm sure that's not how any of you want to be looked at. I'm sure you want to be known for your brains and your values and your personality. And all of this was taken from all the statistics, and everything was from Katie Hawk's Media and Clothing Market Influence on Adolescent Girls, Warnings for Parents. There was also an article in 17 magazine where a young girl made it a point to dress modestly for her whole life. And the reaction of the magazine was that people didn't really want to dress like her, didn't want to be like her. They thought that her approach was revered and it was nice, but they didn't want to change the way they were. And so I think that's just kind of sad how a young girl cannot be respected for dressing modestly, and nobody wants to change because of that. Society is definitely opposing a problem from dressing immodestly, but there's also the problem when trying to attract a man. When trying to attract a man, you want to think, well, what kind of man do I want to attract? You want to attract a respectable man, then you dress like a respectable woman. In Jackie Thompson's Women Need to Rethink How They Change, If You Don't Respect Yourself, Neither Will Others, she kind of puts it harshly and says, if you don't want to be called a prostitute, then don't dress like one. And she says you first have to respect yourself, and then you can ask respect from others. And she also says that when you dress immodestly, you're succumbing yourself to the hurtful comments that come, like prostitute and whore, slut, whatever those rude comments may be. And in Jessica Ray's speech for the Q Forum, which is called The Evolution of the Swimsuit, she kind of goes through the process of how the swimsuit was made. In the beginning, they wore like these huge like costumes, bathing costumes that were like real outfits. And then they moved on from that and wore either one pieces or two pieces, but they never exposed the belly button, and they were always modest. But then Louis Rayard, who was who worked in his mother's lingerie shop, decided to make the bikini, which is supposed to be wet lingerie, is what it's supposed to be. And so he made it, and he named it Bikini Atoll over the atomic bomb testing, because he wanted it to be an explosion on the world, which it was. He also said it wasn't truly a real bikini unless it was pulled through a wedding ring, and that's kind of crazy to think that all that you're wearing can just be pulled through one little circle. It is also, Jessica Ray talked about the study at Princeton University where they studied men's reactions on pictures of women. So they showed men pictures of women dressed scandalously, like this, or like this one. And it was shown that when they were shown those pictures, that the part of the brain associated with tools and first-person action verbs lit up. And first-person action verbs are the ones that are like, I touch or I grab. So when a male sees you in modest clothing, he's thinking about himself. He's not thinking about you and your wants and your needs. It was also shown that 0 of the brain activity was in the medial prefrontal cortex, which is the part of the brain that is thinking about others, which reinforces the idea that when a guy sees you in modest clothing, he's not going to think of you. But when they were shown pictures of modest wearing clothing or wearing women, the part of the brain that was third-person action verbs lit up. So it was she dances or she sings. So that's where men will think about you and your wants and needs and not themselves. With all these problems that immodest clothing poses with safety and the problems in society and attracting the wrong person, there's a way to fix it, and that's through modest dressing. And many people think that modest dressing, you have to dress like a grandma or frumpy and ugly, but modest dressing is actually really cute, and it can be really satisfying and attract the right people. Like this lady, she is a very cute and professional looking outfit. And I think it's awesome that they have clothes that are fads now that you can accentuate for society, like cardigans and tights that you can wear under skirts. And you can use this to your advantage to be more modest. And if you do dress more modestly, you can prevent harm to yourself, harm to society, and attract a respectful man. I think this is important because society has so many problems today, and it's based on how we dress. And I think for you guys, if you change the way that you dress, or just rethink the way that you dress, then you will be able to have a better outcome. I think that the United States has come so far with women's rights that it's only going back because of the fashion that we have today. So I hope that you all have learned something and will do great things.